Joining us now to discuss some of President Joe Biden's first executive orders is Bakersfield College professor and 23 ABC's political contributor Allen Bolar. Thanks for joining us. We want to start with President Biden wasting no time in his first actions as president. Biden is set to reverse several of former President Trump's policies and directives. So we want to know which ones will most impact local residents and how will they help or hurt residents here locally?
Yeah, so the president is or has been signing a number of executive actions, executive orders, which are on a number of different areas. Some of the more prominent ones are new extension of a moratorium for people who might face possible eviction for their, for late rent. There's an extension for people paying interest on student loans, as well as new measures to try to fight the coronavirus. So those are some of the areas that are kind of being highlighted: immigration, the U.S. Census. It's kind of in many different areas.
Can you explain the process of these executive orders? Will they be enacted right away or will it take time?
So basically, they'll happen right away. They'll have the force of, well, they're not laws, but of commands, mandates that will happen as soon as they're signed. Now, how fast they get implemented is really just a matter of how fast the bureaucracies that staff the executive branch can kind of follow the commands that have been made. So basically, they'll probably happen very quickly. There may be a few areas where it's going to take a little bit of time. Some of these things, though, are things that can happen right away. For example, a command to count non-citizens during the census. That's something that will just kind of take place automatically. An extension on a moratorium on rent evictions will happen immediately. So some of these will happen right away.
I want to talk a little bit about how will the student debt loan work and who will pay for it?
Yeah, so there's been a number of different proposals that have been kind of floated by the administration or allies of the administration about some action with regards to student debt or student loan debt. Right now, what we have is an extension on a kind of deferred payment of student loans. It looks like until probably sometime like the end of September, maybe early October. But in addition, the new administration has claimed that they would also like to forgive an amount of money that people have as student loans. And the amount that's been mentioned is $10,000 that would go kind of wipe that off of the slates for people who have student loan debt. Some people have been pushing the new administration to do more, maybe 25 or 50,000. But of course, others are worried that that would be too expensive. It would be a bad thing. And you asked who pays for that, and the answer is the American taxpayer. So that would be a benefit to people who have student loan debt, but it would be a cost to the people who wouldn't benefit from that and who would either pay higher taxes to balance it out, or wouldn't have a certain service that would have been provided.
Definitely something to keep a close eye on. Another executive action calls for the border wall construction to stop. Is this symbolic?
Partially. I mean, there's no question that the border wall, was a big part of the previous administration's brand. It was a big part of their campaign in 2016. It was probably the signature issue that former President Trump ran on. So this reversal of that is certainly symbolically important, but I think it's a real thing too. I mean, the fact of the matter is there was money that was being used to pay for the construction of the wall. This reversal of that then is going to mean that that's not going to happen. So it's a real thing, but I think it has added symbolic importance as well.
Now, what's next after these executive actions? Of course, you have the Senate trial and cabinet confirmations. How quickly can both of those happen?
That, as far as the Senate trial, that's a little bit unclear. It's going to happen, and that is start very soon, but it's not totally clear how long it's going to take. My guess is it will probably be done within something like a week and a half. That's not a terribly long period of time, but it's possible that it could go longer. But nominations are likely to continue to be processed as well. I believe even yesterday there were already hearings being held with regards to some of the very important cabinet positions that should be filled as soon as possible, like Secretary of State, Secretary of the Treasury. Those will likely be approved, I think, probably within the next week or so. So nominations for important cabinet positions, these are things that will probably happen pretty quickly.
All right, lots developing as the president has now been sworn in. Of course, our political contributor, Allen Bolar, joining us tonight. Mr. Bolar, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.